Before I'd ever tell, stone pillars crack under the weight of hell. Got a vision, blood all in the wishing well. I'm about to blow out my chakras, baby. Cause I slide, I drift through dimensions. It's not tough for me, it's too much for you. Look once, twice, I'm time bending. Beam upon my chest, but I'm slipping through. Jet black, I'm masked by the night. Cold heart, throw that to the side, yeah. I'm a limit, but I never push it farther. Cause I live to be a hero, not a martyr. Jet black, I'm masked by the night. Cold heart, throw that to the side, yeah. I'm a limit, but I never push it farther. Cause I live to be a hero, not a martyr. Don't let me serious to keep them quiet. Let that feel good, we never try it. Live a long time, like I'm reviving. Stay to fight it, or die silent. Sure can I hit, curse mark on my wrist. Cause all these black diamonds dancing like they don't fit. Showing on my eyes, baby, I see through the best. Village in the leaves, but I never left. Can you feel the lightning when I strike out? Try to replicate, but you don't have the guts. I feel like I'm going with the lights out. There's a demon in my body and it's calling for blood. Jet black, I'm masked by the night. Cold heart, throw that to the side, yeah. I'm a limit, but I never push it farther. Because I live to be a hero, not a martyr. Jet black, I'm masked by the night. Cold heart, throw that to the side.
Indubitably. It's only really been a week since the last time we fired up the BC WrestlePod signal, but but we are here, and we are here to cap off the final thing that BC WrestlePod will be doing in 2024. Don't get it twisted. We're coming back next year. So yeah, don't cue the music. This is not the end of the road. But it is the end of the world, apparently, according to AEW. But hello,
or John
everyone.
Moxley.
We'll get there.
Because you don't have the integrity to run this show. Shut it off. Sorry.
Oh man, I miss this chaotic
energy that way. But
yes.
That's beside the point. That's beside the point.
Yes, we will talk about all that because I got some words for this. But hi, all you BC WrestlePod nerds out there, and welcome to the final Grapple Gurus review of 2024. We are here to cover AEW's Worlds End pay-per-view. I am one of your hosts, Mikey, and joining me for the last time in 2024 and for the foreseeable future for right now, it is Team A&A themselves, Adolfo and Alice, joining me for one final AEW review in 2024. Listen, I already have a basic understanding of their thoughts because the group chat went off during the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. But we are here to cover AEW Worlds End that just took place this past Saturday, December 28th from Orlando, Florida. The Floridians there got a pay-per-view. But before we get into all of that action for the last time in 2024, if you love these shenanigans you are seeing on your screen and you want even more, follow us on the social medias, because not only will you get to see more shenanigans, but we try to do our best to keep you well informed. If you don't got time to watch all the wrestling, we got you covered, because we have our report cards for for all the WWE shows individually, all the AEW shows, TNA, Ring of Honor, CMLL, and then at the end we are adding 3 more promotions to our rotation. Yes, I had to count on my fingers. 3 more promotions that are added into our rotation of things that you'll see in the report cards, as well as some fun other things. 2025 is going to be great. I have a whole thing that I've been working on the last week and a half, so it's going to be great. But if you want to keep up to date with all of that, you got to make sure to follow us here. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube, follow us on Twitch, hit the follow button on all the social medias, whether you're on Facebook, Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram. We have a Patreon, we have merchandise, link in the description below. I am so excited. This is going to be fantastic. All right, for the final time in this YouTube, Twitch, networking, conglomeration, syndicate podcasting thing we got going on, let us jump into World's End, which, we're going to briefly cover 0 Hour, and then we're going to get into some stuff. I have some notes on specific matches we're going to focus on, because my initial thoughts, though, I really enjoyed World's End. This is probably another strong pay-per-view to end out the year for AEW, but yeah. I have some criticisms that we'll get to when we get there.
Okay.
But let us cover 0 Hour, because, guys, I don't know if you know this or not, but we finally get the pay-per-view debut. Miss Toni Storm. She just signed to AEW, you guys.
Yeah.
and she had a match.
We need to keep our eye on this
Yes.
This one, Toni Storm.
Listen, anybody who has been following Toni Storm on the independent scene for the last 2-3 years now knows how great she is, and I'm so happy she is signed to AEW. So excited. Toni Storm gets her pay-per-view debut here on 0 Hour. Whatever this new character is for Toni, in all honesty, is the best thing. She's the best women's character, period. I don't care what nobody says. But we do have the 0 Hour match. Toni Storm versus Layla Gray. Also, shout out. I love seeing Layla get more TV time, even if it's on 0 Hour. Get her more wrestling. I want her to win, but that's besides the point.
Yeah.
But I am happy that they are utilizing Layla as, an actual wrestler, not just valet for Top Flight, which is nice.
Yes.
We are not shocked. Toni Storm picks up the victory here. Love it. We love to see it. I have criticism about the internet. Everyone needs to calm down, because people got mad that she's been mostly on Collision and now she's on 0 Hour and she's not on Dynamite. I'm like, you guys, y'all need to relax. Like, why are we mad that her return in ring as this current character wasn't on the big show on Dynamite? Y'all need to relax. Like,
well, that's the whole point, right? Like, she's not supposed to be on Dynamite. That's the whole point of this character.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, she's still working her way up. She's still she's walking around like introducing herself to all the other wrestlers, because she's new.
I love it so much. And she's treading ground, because she's going to have a first time ever matchup with Deonna Purrazzo on Collision. I love that Toni's first big feud is with the Vendetta.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I love it so much. I would not be upset if Oblivious, this version of Toni Storm, joins the Vendetta. Put Toni Storm in the Vendetta. Oh, that would be marvelous. But
I do want to bring it back to I do want to bring it back to this match though, because Layla Gray, she wrestled really well. Yeah, we knew the outcome, coming into this, that Toni Storm was going to pick up the win. Although it's not. I feel with this iteration going on right now, it's not always a safe bet, because if we remember, right before the Timeless one, retired, she retired on a losing streak. You know what I mean? So Tony, that wrestler is not afraid to take the L to get people over. You know what I mean? And Layla Gray wrestled a hell of a match. There were, she pulled a lot of high experience moves, and I felt like she was a great dance partner for Tony. So this was a good match. I was happy with where it was with the character, especially with the character. I'm happy that they didn't have her and Mariah May cross paths yet, so like I'm digging it.
100% agreed. I am okay if we are, for the first part of this new character arc for Toni Storm, we revisit the feuds that she has had. So that would be, Deanna, Harley Cameron, and, the Outcasts, especially since she was part of that group as well. And then inevitably make her way back to Mariah, which I'm here for. I love it. Also, I love the fact that we're now putting Toni Storm on Ring of Honor because she was on this past Thursday's Ring of Honor as well. So that was fun. If that means we're going to see Toni time be on more shows that AEW has, I'm not going to complain.
Yep.
I love it. So we move on to our second match, which technically kind of also stems from ROH, specifically what went down at Final Battle.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Jeff Jarrett versus QT Marshall, if you will. Again, this is stemming from all the shenanigans that went down at Final Battle, because we had QT versus not just Jay Lethal, but we had the return of Black Machismo Jay Lethal, which I was like, why? If you want to know our thoughts, go check out the ROH Final Battle review. Me and Jesse went in on that match of how much we hated the shenanigans. But Jeff Jarrett did get involved in that match, and that's why we have this one. I should not have been surprised. I don't know why. I didn't think otherwise, but of course there were shenanigans as well with everybody getting involved. I don't know why I thought differently, but it is what it is. Jeff Jarrett does pick up the victory here, and he has an announcement about his career on Dynamite. I was just like, oh God, don't do this to me again. You already fooled me once with Billy Gunn. Don't do this again to AEW.
Yeah. Regarding his announcement, it'd be nice if he says that he's retiring from in-ring and he's going to be doing
put him on the mic,
man. Put him on the mic.
He's so good on the mic.
On commentary or on the microphone. Fantastic.
Yep. This match itself, I'll be honest, I enjoyed it. Again, QT Marshall.
He knows how to lose.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. And Jeff Jarrett just wrestled fun. It was a fun match, and I didn't expect any more. I didn't expect any less. It was a fun match. I'm okay with it being on 0 Hour,
I am too. And I have grown, as much as I get annoyed with Jeff Jarrett sometimes, I have grown to like and love him over the last 2 years that he's been predominantly shown on my AEW television screen. And he doesn't upset me as much as he does anymore. I'm like, I feel like I can't believe I'm about to say the word. I feel like he's grown. He seems to be in a better place. I will say him and his wife together on camera is always a good time and hilarious to watch, because she just plays it perfectly. She's like, Jeff, what are you doing? What is happening? Oh man, I hope we'll see what happens at Fight for the Fallen, which is happening this Wednesday. In the first simulcast, which we'll talk more in depth at the very end of the new Max streaming service for AEW. So that's going to be fun. But we conclude 0 Hour with our obligatory 8-man tag team match, as they tend to do on 0 Hour. And we had the Outrunners and Top Flight taking on the team of Leo Rush, Action Andretti, and what has now been named the Murder Machine, which is Brian Cage and Lance Archer.
The Machine, Brian Cage, and the Murder Hawk, Lance Archer.
It's a brilliant tag team.
Murder Machine.
Yes, the Murder Machines. Once that actually what? Can I just say, I love that Leo and Action are now coming out in matching pointy coats. I love that so much. I was like, see a tag team that actually dresses like a tag team. Oh, it's so great.
the only thing I just
the Outrunners dress like a tag team too.
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
they do.
oh totally. The only thing I kind of had an internal chuckle about was Lio Rush knows how to do that whole like he's got that swag, you know what I mean? So when they first came in and they kneeled down in front of the camera, and Leo is doing the thing with the sunglasses, he's got that swag. Action Andretti though, for whatever reason, he just looks so stiff.
He needs more seasoning.
He's green. Yeah, he's just green. Well,
he's like,
yeah.
I mean, the only shtick he had for the longest was that whole drinking the water bottle in like 1 second.
I'm so glad we're done with that.
So I think he'll get more comfortable, but yeah, for sure.
I do hope
especially in comparison with Leo, he looks very stiff.
Yeah.
I think Leo's going to be a good person to kind of learn off from, because Leo has had the swagger in any character he does, and that transcends television. He's had this character too since in the New Japan and in the Independents. Like he just carries himself with such confidence. I love that. Mm-hmm. I also got an internal chuckle too with Layla Gray struggling to get her fur coat back on as she came back out to escort the boys to Top Flight. She's just like, you know what? I'm gonna just put this around my neck. I'm not gonna fully put it on. Forget it. Oh my goodness. What's up, Johnny? I was at the show and your boy was going in. I still have no voice. Those are all, that is a good sign that you had a great time at any wrestling show or pay-per-view, is if you have no voice the next day or for the next couple of ones. I'm going to have that happen to me quite often in 2025, as I'll talk about at the very end.
But bringing it back to this 8-man tag team, I unfortunately didn't see it because I was putting Loxus to bed. Honey, how was it?
Oh,
it was fine.
It was fine. It was fine. Oh, that's awesome. Sorry, I'm responding. The Johnny was said he was sitting directly beneath where Christian was. That's so fun.
That's amazing.
That's so fun. Yeah, this match was fine. I mean, the Murder Machines took the win, right? And that was expected, though.
I will say I did like that Leo had to jump over, tagged himself in, had to jump over Lance Archer to go get the pin. And ultimately, Leo, Action, and the Murder Machines win. But of course, Leo gets the pin. And AEW, I'm mad at you because you backpedaled so hard. I thought, they course corrected with what happened after the match. But I'm like, you guys for the last 2 weeks have had Action and Leo be #1 contenders for the tag titles, because that was the stipulation that was given when they beat Top Flight on Collision a couple weeks ago. And then you did not have this match happen at World's End. I'm like, but then, of course, after the match, it is, as Murder Machines and Leo and Action are kind of staring each other down, with Leo and Action outside the ring, Murder Machines on the inside. Over the loudspeaker and in the arena is, of course, my personal favorite thing. Oh my God, is that Private Party? I do love that they got their original music back, since that one's so much more fun to do with the crowd. But Private Party come down and they have a stare off with Leo and Action, and we're getting that championship match on Collision on this upcoming Saturday. So I'm super excited. Kicking off the first Collision of 2025 with 2 championship matches, which we'll talk about at the end.
Nice.
I will say I am happy that the Outrunners did not get pinned, but poor Top Flight can't catch a break.
No, they can't. No, they can't.
Let these boys have a tag title run in 2025. That is my hopes and dreams for AEW in 2025. I want to see Top Flight get a championship reign, whether it's Ring of Honor or AEW. I don't care. Give these boys the championships.
Yup.
But that concludes our 0 hour. So now we can get into the main event, where there was I had a lot of fun. Nothing was inherently bad. Well, I held my tongue. We'll get to certain
hold
things,
your tongue.
but
I mean,
I'll hold my tongue.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. But we kick off the main card with a banger. We opened up World's End's main card with the first semifinal match of the Continental Classic. This saw the winner of the Blue League, so our first seed of the Blue League, Kyle Fletcher, taking on the second seed, or the second place of the Gold League, and Will Ospreay.
This match was wild.
Oh my God.
We opened with this.
Yep.
I was just like, y'all knew what you were doing, AEW, when you decided to open with this match.
And they know each other so well, and they know each other's styles so well. And it's really always exciting when they fight each other. And I think it was only like a minute and a half into the match, and Will Ospreay's already bleeding all
he's covered in red. He wore a crimson mask the whole entire match. I was like, also, just as a side note, before we talk more about this match, that fan that when Kyle Fletcher went up and ripped his sign, and then he pulled out another. On the original sign, it says Will Ospreay is better. Will Ospreay is better. And Kyle Fletcher took it and he ripped it as he was standing up there. Then this fan pulls up the sign that says Will Ospreay is still better when it's underneath. Like, he came prepared. Orlando, I have to give you credit because you were a really fun crowd for this pay-per-view. Holy crap. I was like, this is probably one of my favorite crowds for an AEW pay-per-view this year. Y'all were into it and it was fantastic. I loved it. This match, again, was as you said, Alice, match was wild. Will Ospreay was bleeding the whole entire time. Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay were killing each other. I thought, like,
killing each other. So Adolfo was putting our 5-year-old to bed, and he probably heard me through the door go, a couple of times. And Kyle's really leaning into that heel thing, like he got his white boot covered in Will Ospreay's blood, extra.
I have to admit that I was wrong. I did say back at the beginning when we were talking about the Continental Classic and how I didn't want to see Fletcher and Ospreay wrestle each other. I was wrong. I feel that the way that this setup was good. I feel that this was a great second match for Fletcher Ospreay. Even better with the outcome of the finals, right? So now, like, I'm excited to see Fletcher Ospreay 3. Like,
well, because we got that at the very end. Ospreay, after the match is over, turning to Kyle and going 1-1. So we get one more blow off match. Please, just because I'm selfish, if we're not going to get it anytime soon, I would love to see it happen at Grand Slam Australia. That'd be great.
Yes.
Especially since Kyle is from Australia in that area. Exactly. It'd be such a great moment. But yeah, it's crazy. Will Ospreay picks up the victory here. He is going to have a tough night because he's going to have to wrestle later in the evening. So that's the downside of winning your semifinal. Which then we get into our second match because these two matches kind of go hand in hand because we get our second semifinal match. Ooh, what happened there? I hit the wrong button, you guys. There we go. I got excited. But we have our second semifinal match. This is the second seed, Kazuchika Okada of the Blue League, taking on the Gold League first seed of Ricochet. This match was also really fun. Before we get into the actual intricacies of the match, my favorite part that had me having to pause is when Okada started running the ropes back and forth, just being his crazy fun self, stops at Ricochet. And this is after the crowd has started shouting bald at Ricochet for like 2 minutes. He stops behind Ricochet. Ricochet is expecting a kid. Okada, with the disrespect, and I loved it so much, slaps him upside the bald head. I was like, yes, this is the wrestling I love. This is stupid, but in the best way possible.
He's so funny.
Yeah.
Okada is so funny, and he's so fun to watch.
Yeah, and he's so smooth too.
Yeah.
I normally don't like the style of wrestling that Okada does, but he's just so good at it and so smooth that it's not boring at all to watch. It's still exciting, especially against Ricochet. Props to Okada for grounding Ricochet, by the way.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That was integral. And the way that he just pounded on Ricochet throughout the whole match, just like I felt like you could see Ricochet kind of like deflating more and more and more and more as the match went on until, what happens afterwards.
Right.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about. And I got pictures of this. I agree. I love that Okada grounded Ricochet, and that was one of the points that I had in my notes to make it believable that Okada, who is more of your technical ground base, is not necessarily a high flyer, how you're going to ground the high flyer. And he definitely did. Okada does pick up the victory here, so he will be moving on to the finals, and he is going to be facing Will Ospreay later in the night. And as soon as Okada won, I literally yelled at my television screen, here we go. Are we about to get a New Japan style match? Because these two have history. So I was super excited. Ricochet is still in the ring, very deflated and defeated after losing to Okada. Gets interrupted by whose house?
Swerve's house.
Swerve Strickland comes down to the ring, microphone in hand. If this is the energy that Swerve is going to give me in 2025, I'm here for bullying Swerve Strickland. But Swerve gets on the mic and he tells Ricochet, so if my memory serves me correct, you were talking all this mess. And how you said, that I couldn't get the job done last year, that you were going to win the Continental Classic, but here you are. You were talking all this mess, but as we just saw, you could not get the job done. So now I had to come out here and clean up your mess. And how do we clean up messes, you guys? Which then cues Prince Nana.
Nana coming out with that wagon. With the toilet paper.
Handing the toilet paper to the fans.
Oh my God.
Swerve, as Nana goes down the ramp and passes out the rolls of toilet paper to the entire audience. Swerve begins to say the best way, and I love this for those who don't watch New Japan, in New Japan, they throw streamers for the matches and everything like that. It's just a tradition. So we're going to clean up Ricochet's mess. And we're also going to wish Ricochet a happy new year. So Swerve gets the countdown. So we're just going to let this be.
And he just stood there and took it.
Stood there and took it. Yeah.
Look at sad Ricochet.
Yes.
Sad Ricochet turned into mad Ricochet. And then Swerve still being an absolute turd. It's just like, happy new year, Trevor.
Oh my God. I had to look it up. I was like, that can't be his real name.
That is his real name.
That is his real name.
Yeah.
I love bully Swerve.
Yeah. I had typed it in our chat after the match, but in all my years of watching the big company shows, WCW, WWF, WWE, AEW. This is the first time I've seen this type of like fan interaction and this type of like promo stunt, I can only imagine that like Swerve and Ricochet, at least my headcanon, that Swerve and Ricochet, when the cameras were away and no one was watching, like gave each other hugs and checked in with each other.
Backstage, they were probably laughing their ass off.
Yeah.
I'm so stoked for this feud though.
Yeah.
Because Ricochet is gonna get even. He's gonna cost Swerve a match, probably against Bobby Lashley, because Swerve wants a rematch against Bobby. Ricochet is gonna cost him a match. Then we get a feud from this. Yeah. I also want to shout out AEW for taking something that the audience did without provocation, because the toilet paper came about last week when they had their Hammerstein ballroom shows. And then they capitalized it, but like in a great way.
Yeah,
this was great, and I want to see this continue. Ricochet is now going to get toilet paper thrown in for a little bit, which has me super excited. The match was awesome. The afterwards was great. Not only did we get a good match, but you're building a future feud on a pay-per-view, which has been sorely missing from AEW a good chunk of this year. Oh, I'm so excited. But yeah, Okada versus Ricochet was great. Everything that happened with Ricochet and Swerve afterwards was great. So we move on to our next match. So I'm probably going to get some hate for this. I love both of these women. Mariah and Thunder are those girls for me. And the content of the match itself was fun as hell. This is how a street fight is supposed to be. It's fun. The girls went there. It was great. The finishing maneuver looked devastating. That from Mariah to Thunder onto the mat. There's only one issue that I had with this match, and they kind of go hand in hand, is the build for this match, to me, didn't feel like this was the stipulation that was warranted. Because a street fight, to me, in essence, is like, oh, these girls have been trying to kill each other for the last couple of months or the last couple of weeks. And so now they're going to kill each other in a legal way in this match. But the build up to this feud did not warrant that. And in fact, the last 2 weeks, we didn't really get anything from either one of these women on television for this. You want to know why? You want to know why? It's because their build up for this feud was on social media.
I was about to say, though, everything was on social media.
And before we talk about the match, I want to play the final promos from both of these girls that we got before World's End that kind of led into this match. So we're going to start with Mariah's, and then we're going to go with Thunder's. So grab a snack and welcome to BC WrestlePod Cinema.
Thunder Rosa, why are we having a Tijuana street fight? Is it so we can celebrate your culture, or I can break a piñata and get cancelled? Or is it so you can embarrass yourself in the biggest way possible? You have so much heart. And that's your problem. This job is for the heartless, and no one does a better job than me. I don't care about my friends, my family, or my culture. I care about one thing. And it's killing the dreams of every woman that works here. So far, so good. So, Papa Rosa, let me show you what a real women's world champion looks like. Thunder, you and your father have something else in common. Neither of you can touch me.
So that was Mariah's. And then here is Thunder Rosa's retort to all that.
Mariah May, my father has a message for you.
Mira, Mariah, mocosa engreída, te va a cargar el payaso.
At World's End, I'm not fighting you alone. I'm fighting you with all of those who believed in me. And let's be honest, Mariah, nobody believes in you. Not even your family. Because they know they have a selfish, greedy, and stupid little perra as a daughter. And I haven't touched that championship in over 2 years. But when I did, I never forget how precious it feels to hold something like that when you win it for those who believed in you. And let's be honest, there's nothing precious about you. So on December 28th, La Mera Mera is waiting to give you a beating of a lifetime and an ego check. So I'm gonna take your title, I'm gonna beat the ego out of you, and I'm gonna take your soul where it belongs, in hell.
See, had we gotten that over the last couple of weeks, I would be like, okay, this match warrants it. That's the only issue I had with this match, is that the build-up for this doesn't warrant this type of stipulation. But the match itself was amazing. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Yeah, no, it was a good match. I felt like it was a little short, but then again, when those tacks came out, easy there, Mike. Whoa, calma, por favor.
Sorry.
Yeah, you know, especially when the thumbtacks came out, I was like, okay, so it's going to be wrapping up sometime soon, but you know, it still went on. I love that I am completely hating Mariah May. Like, I'm so ready to see someone, like, you know, take her down a peg. It doesn't even have to be for, you know, for the title. Like, you know, it could be another one of those matches that she had with Anna Jay, which I kind of wished that this Tijuana street fight didn't have the belt on line, so that Thunder Rosa could have won, just to take Mariah down a few pegs, because she is playing the pretentious heel so well, the conniving heel so well. It's like, yeah. And yeah, I wanted to see Thunder win. So
yeah, I wanted to see Thunder win. And I don't know. I didn't feel like the final move, Mikey, you said you felt like it was devastating, and I disagree. I feel like Thunder Rosa carried this match, and I didn't feel like Mariah May earned that win.
Well, yeah, and again, when you couple that with the lack of a build for this too, you would have thought, oh, they're going into a Tijuana street fight, so they've been feuding for like a month or two, and this is the final outcome of it. No, not really. This, if we're gonna be completely honest, this really just stems from, again, social media, and I'm just like, that's no way to build a feud. Like, that's no way to build a feud. And I feel that this is one of the matches they're like, we don't have Mariah on here. She wasn't at Full Gear, so we need to have her at World's End. So Thunder, because Thunder is reliable. We know that. We love her.
Yep.
I'm just disappointed. I'm just disappointed with the lack of the build, and it definitely showed. AEW couldn't hide that this was kind of thrown together last minute. Yeah. I love both women. They did their darndest, but yeah, this was one of the matches I was just like, I enjoyed it, but I have to be critical and be unbiased as possible. This type of stipulation should be reserved if these girls are about to hit the end and have been feuding and trying to take each other out over this as well. So, I mean, not to compare companies, but we just saw, in the final match between Drew and Punk over the summer, after 2 matches, the blow-off match was Hell in a Cell. Like, that feud, because they were trying to take each other out, warranted, and that was over a 2-month period. We could have had something similar and reduced it in like maybe a month, or like immediately right after Full Gear. You could have had them go fight each other and then go from here. If we had spaced it out, I could have actually rather had Anna Jay and Mariah May if they were going to space out that feud to be the blow-off match here, which would be great. But that's besides the point. But overall, this was a fun match. Just the build didn't do it.
Yep.
I would like to begin by saying, hallelujah, we are done with this feud. Finally, I'm done. We are done with this feud. That is the best way to describe this. We better be, because I do not need to see Adam Cole and MJF continuing to feud after this. We have reached the end. This was the makeup for Adam Cole being injured to get to the end of this feud. We better be done, AEW. Let me tell you, do not revisit this in 2025. Do not do this to me. So
classic MJF.
Yes. So we have this next match that we're going to talk about is for the Dynamite Diamond Ring. And this is MJF defending the ring, ? If we want to call it a defense. Yeah, I guess so. Against Adam Cole, baby. Well, I had my issues with Mariah and Thunder. At least I was entertained. This was the match. Again, I thought it was fine. This is the match we were probably going to get had Adam Cole not gotten hurt. So we probably would have gotten this match sooner in the year had he not broken ankle. It was fine. I'm like, sure. It
was fine. Yeah. So what disappointed me with this match, the in-ring was great. I didn't mind the shenanigans from the Undisputed Kingdom. I didn't mind classic MJF with the low blow to get the pin, what I'm disappointed with is the pivot that AEW did to get here with these two, because last year, at least for me, that was a very gripping cliffhanger where we had Adam Cole revealing himself to be the devil, ultimate betrayal, MJF now, like, where he put himself out there, like, all that, all that just shattered to pieces, right? Like, I was really like, that had so much gravitas, right? And then, okay, yes, we had injuries from Adam Cole. We had injuries from MJF. MJF had to go film, but it seemed like AEW couldn't find its way back, and may I remind everyone that the way MJF is, the Undisputed Kingdom created this monster,
right? Like I don't know how Adam Cole gets to be the face in this situation,
right? Yeah,
like there's no way,
right? Yeah, I mean, even if MJF wants to be an a-hole MJF, that's fine, but he shouldn't. I feel the Undisputed Kingdom and Adam Cole, they shouldn't be the baby face. They shouldn't come out so squeaky clean in this, especially
when they get their happy ending with Kyle O'Reilly coming out. I'm like, get out of here. Get out of here.
Yeah. So
I am, though. I'm also tired. Like, MJF has had this ring for 6 years, right? This is the 6th time that he's won this ring. Let him let it go. And
Seriously.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And maybe, like, Adam Cole isn't the right person to give it to, right? Because I'm mad about that whole thing.
Right.
But it's time.
Yeah. Yeah, and this should have just been MJF Adam Cole, like a grudge match,
Yeah, I'm mad that the diamond ring was on the line.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's that. So, again, in-ring stuff, it was good. It was entertaining. It kept me watching. But yeah.
That's that. Yeah. I mean, you guys already said it. We got the reunion of the Undisputed Kingdom with Adam and Kyle and Roddy and Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. So the 5 of them have reunited. We form a faction. Cool. Let's move on between Adam Cole and MJF. Like, we are done. Let us move on. Speaking of moving on, we go into our next match.
Oh,
I dare say this is probably Powerhouse Hobbs' best match. Though there were some scary spots in this match, though.
I was afraid, like, this whole match.
Yeah.
How dare you, Power? Well, for the most of it, like, I was fine with it because he was selling the knee injury. The one moment, and just to fast forward a little bit before we go back and talk about this match as a whole, the one spot that really scared me is when his knee buckled and they were on the top rope and both of them just, like, collapsed. And Hobbs fell off the top rope onto the apron. I'm like, and then that's when the crowd began to shout, "Please be careful."
Right. Yeah.
That I was like, don't be hurt, Hobbs. We just got you back.
We just got you back. This was a fantastic match. This was up to, if World's End ended at this match, this was my match of the night. Just like incredible selling from both. Kudos to Konosuke Takeshita, to letting Hobbs get over like that, because it's so easy, especially when you have a heel character, and a character who has a manager like Don Callis to just like overpower it all, but I feel like they were able to get Powerhouse Hobbs over. They were able to have a great match, and not have Powerhouse look weak, I mean, for God's sake, he did that his finisher like twice on Takeshita. Both times it looked like he had broken Takeshita in half. It was fantastic.
I also want to give Don Callis some flowers because because on the mic, he's incredible on the mic, right? Especially when he's on commentary. And I want to say, because he's sort of in an interesting position, right? Because Powerhouse Hobbs was part of the family, and now not really. And Takeshita's his guy. So he did such a good job of playing the neutral announcer. Yeah. Right? He really kind of was playing both sides of the fence. Like, I thought that was really good. I thought he really added to the whole experience. Yes. Sometimes I don't feel that way. But this time, for sure, it was good to have him on commentary.
Oh, absolutely. And again, this is another feud I feel like that didn't warrant, because the last 2 weeks we didn't really get much between Takeshita and Hobbs outside of what they posted on social media. But whereas where I felt like Mariah and Thunder was lacking it, at least we had some on-screen development between these two with the feud. So again, AEW just relegate some time to give me on-screen for the women too, and we'll be calling it a day. But again,
yeah,
had World's End in here, because I even put it in the text chat. I was like, right now, because we got more matches later down the night, this is probably my match of the night. And I feel like this was like the true starting point of the second half of the pay-per-view, in my opinion, because we leave this match because Takeshita wins. So therefore, he is going to be going to Wrestle Kingdom later this week. And now his match against Shingo Takagi for the Neverweight Open Championship is now a title match. So the Neverweight Championship and the AEW International Championships are on the line. So whoever walks out of Wrestle Kingdom this week will be a double champion. And then they will have to put both of those titles on the line against Tomohiro Ishii at Wrestle Dynasty the following night. So somebody's going to be busy. I'm excited.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. We'll talk about Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty because we do have AEW folks, so it's tangentially related to AEW. But we move on from this match to what I feel like is the true start of the second half, and this match was great. This was my match of the night. I'm burying the lead. This was my match of the night. Holy crap. I wasn't sure if these girls were going to give me the same level of what we got at Full Gear. I will admit there were probably like one or two small spots where it was a little bit slow, but looking back at the match from beginning to end, it was kind of more of a slow burn the first third of it. And then once Chris Statlander took the boot off, this is where everything went into place.
Right.
I love this match. This was for the TBS Championship. This was for Mercedes Moné versus Chris Statlander, round 2.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, we're actually having a challenger return within the span of like one pay-per-view cycle for a women's title? Because I'm going to be real. When she lost at Full Gear, I thought Mercedes was going to be moving on from Chris, but no.
Yep.
We got television time dedicated where Chris and Mercedes continue to have their feud. I want one more match. And if you're not going to give it to me anytime soon, we could take a little bit of a break, but I need to see this. And on the third retry, I would like to see Chris regain this championship from Mercedes, because Chris is still not been given a true rematch, and to have her get the title back that she never truly lost to begin with is a story in itself. AEW, that's money right there. But the match was fantastic.
Yep.
Of course, Chris Statlander, we always know that she's going to bring it. I dare to say that this is probably the cleanest I've seen Mercedes wrestle. And I feel that whereas Chris led a little bit more at their Full Gear match, I will say I feel that they equally carried the match in this one around. Yeah. And I'm just like, I see you, Mercedes. This is the Mercedes I've been wanting to see since you came into AEW. And now we're finally going to see it. The last 3 matches Mercedes has had defending her championships has been great. The 2 that she's had with Chris at Full Gear and here at World's End, and then defending the Strong Women's Championship at Strong Style not too long ago either against one of Stardom's talents, was also really great. This match was fantastic. I loved it.
Yeah, so this is my official match of the night. It's amazing what happens when you let wrestlers cook and let their match develop.
Also, right? This is the longest AEW women's match in the company's history ever, which is a shame to say. I was like, huh? But this match went about 24 minutes and some odd change of seconds. This is the longest AEW women's match ever in the company's history, which is crazy.
And when it was over, I was like, man, that match was long.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. And Adolfo's like, you know how many times we've seen that for men, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. But like, I was so surprised.
Yeah.
It just kept going.
And not to say nothing, but CMLL, the Amazonas, 20 minutes 20 minutes is the average for an Amazona match. So just saying. Anyway, getting back to this match, they both again worked really well together, very riveting. That whole spot when Statlander, when they fell into the and took off the ring apron thing, it looked scary, but I think they pulled it off so well, and that's why it looked so scary, and then the story with Chris having her boot caught up, almost getting the count out. Mercedes kept coming out, had me to the very end. And finally Mercedes, 7 was it? 7
it
of the
was 7. It was 7. I counted.
Yeah, that was incredible. It was good.
What a display, right?
Oh, yeah.
Of showmanship and athletic ability from both women.
Yeah. So, I
want one more match.
If we get a part 3, you know what? We nothing has been done on it on social media yet. Hopefully, on Dynamite or Collision, Mercedes doesn't do that thing that Chris Statlander. That was your final.
No, so here's what I would love to see, because Chris did cut a promo on social media afterwards, and she just looks and sounds so defeated. Like she's like, I don't know where I go with this. Here's what I want. Spoiler alert, because of everything that went down in the main event, and it seems that the conglomeration isn't really going to be going after the Death Riders anytime soon. Spoiler alert. Right. I would love for Willow to have the building Chris Statlander confidence back up, have her fight, some girls on the AEW and ROH roster. Then as Chris gets her mojo back and gets her confidence back, Willow is the final boss, is the final challenge for Chris. Chris beats Willow, but not as enemies, as friends, and then catapults Chris as the momentum to lead into the rematch with Mercedes. And then with Chris not doubting herself anymore, full confidence, is able to finally get the win over Mercedes and take that championship. AEW, you could take that for free, please.
Right? And hell, you could pace that out until All In.
Shoot, there are so many opportunities. If you want to do it sooner, Revolution is in March. If you want to spread it out longer, you could have it at Double or Nothing, or even All In, or All Out too.
Well, the reason why I say All In is because Mercedes Moné has been all over the media scrum and all of the promotion material for All In. So I think it would be just apropos for Chris to beat Mercedes at this event that she's like the poster child for, That's just my.
Well, and I mean, All In, Chris is from Texas too, so.
Fair, yeah.
Let her get a win in her hometown. But again, this personally was my match of the night. I love this. This is a fantastic one. And I'm just like, wow. The international championship was awesome. This match was awesome. Like, this second half of the pay-per-view is killing it for me.
Yeah.
And then we got this one, which also kept that momentum. Of course, they didn't have a separate graphic just showing Okada and Ospreay, but it is the semi-main event. It's the semi-main event. This is the Continental Classic Finals, which is crazy that the finals is made up of the people who got second place in their league. So we have Kazuchika Okada, our current reigning Continental Champion, who got second place in the Blue League, taking on second place of the Gold League in Will Ospreay. This not only is the New Japan match that I knew we were going to get, but for me personally, and then I'm okay with being corrected, I feel that this match truly showed the Okada that AEW signed. I'm like, this is the match. I was like, this, because people have been complaining about Okada and his stick of just being a walking catchphrase when he says bitch all the time, and in-ring has not necessarily been given the time to shine. this is the Okada that I know from New Japan. And I'm like, I need this Okada to show up on television more weekly. Let him still do the gimmick that he's doing now, but let him just be slapping people around, because Will got slapped around this match.
Yeah, he did. And I want to give props to Will Ospreay. I'm probably alone on my island, but I like my island. I feel like Will Ospreay was selling the hell out of coming in, getting dropped on his head, right, and his head injuries reopening, right. So he was selling that. He was fighting that, and B, just also selling the beatdown that he got from Okada. You know, again, Okada, great job neutralizing Ospreay. This is probably, and this is probably because they again, these two know each other really well. So they probably have a good understanding of what each other does, et cetera, et cetera. I was very surprised that Okada at the end shook Ospreay's hand.
That was crazy. Also, shout out to Okada for being a heel, because he took that when Will came out in his jersey and the head wrapped in the Band-Aid. So it's like, oh, Will, we're going to have a tough time tonight. And Okada literally ripped the Band-Aid off. He's like,
yeah, you did. Yep.
And he put it on as an armband.
Yep.
Oh, that is the Okada that I need to show up. But these two killed it. I love this match. But oh no, we're not quite done yet, because
I was going to say, I wanted this to be the last match. This was so good. I was like, let's end the pay-per-view here.
We could have, and especially what happened afterwards, we could have had that too. But Okada and Will surprisingly shake hands. Will gets out of the ring. We have corporate Christopher Daniels come on out. And, he is down with the microphone. He's at the top of the ramp. He says that normally since he is, part of the EVP team, he would come down and give Okada his championship and present it to him. But effective immediately today at World's End, I am no longer an EVP, but this man is. And I'm like, who is about to be coming out right now? And then,
Alice's,
of course,
favoriteest wrestler in the entire world comes out.
So the one-winged angel himself, Kenny Omega, is back. He grabs the title. He walks down. He presents it to Okada. Kenny and Okada have a bit of a face-off. AEW, I see what you did there with having the all-in Texas graphic in the background. These two are going to fight at some point in 2025. But Kenny Omega is back, and he's an EVP. I'm interested to see how the Young Bucks are going to feel about this with him coming back.
Right.
When, because Young Bucks are kind of busy. They're going to be in Japan this week, so this is going to be interesting. But Kenny Omega is back. I have missed the one-winged angel. His in-ring, actual wrestling return is happening at Wrestle Dynasty when he takes on Gabe Kidd, which is about to be an absolute massacre of the match, because Kenny and Gabe Kidd are about to murderize each other. It's about to get nuts.
All the wrestling silliness aside, I am very happy to see Kenny Omega back, especially after going through what he went through with diverticulitis. That is a rough recovery, and he looks good in that suit. He really filled that suit out well. So, so I'm on a personal level, I am very happy to see Kenny Omega back. I am nervous this weekend about his in-ring, but we'll talk about that later. But I feel this was a great way to get him back into AEW.
Okay.
How do you think? How do you feel that your favorite wrestler's back, honey?
Alice, me and Alice are probably going to agree, but go ahead, Alice.
We're not going to agree. He came out. This whole thing took way too long. It was way too. Neither of them spoke. Right? It was just
very nonverbal.
I'm like, this is ridiculous. I did not like this at all. I thought it was an entire minute too long. That might have been the entire length of it. I was like, what? Can we
What is
move on?
happening?
What is happening? I think I almost texted that and then I deleted it. I was like, what is happening?
I will say I'm a big Kenny Omega fan. Like me and Minnie are probably like the two biggest Kenny Omega fans because of his work in New Japan. However, I'm cautiously optimistic, but the key word being cautiously, I need to see what character we're going to get from Kenny, because that was my biggest problem with him before he got injured and before he got the diverticulitis, is I didn't really like the character we were getting on television. It kind of started to outstay its welcome. It was the same thing every week. I love you, Kenny, but we know that promo skills are not necessarily the best for you. So I'm hoping, and I'm cautiously optimistic to see what kind of character we get with Kenny post Wrestle Dynasty, because I don't think we're going to see him in action this week at Fight for the Fallen or on Collision.
No,
but
we might get a backstage spot or something like that with him.
Well, yeah, but not like in-ring him wrestling someone, because his in-ring is going to happen at Dynasty against Gabe Kidd this upcoming weekend, which should be fun. But regardless of how we feel about Kenny Omega, I will say I am happy to see him back, because there have been many times where wrestlers get super ill or super sick, and then they have to announce that they're retiring from the business, which also makes me very sad. So I am happy that Kenny is able to still do what he does. But Kenny has said that he probably has like maybe a couple more years, and then he's ready to retire. Like his body can't take no more. So I'm happy to see Kenny back. Okada is now our Continental Champion. He is still the Continental Champion.
Defending Continental Champion.
That is correct. So we shall see what happens here. Also, speaking of taking care of yourself, Darby, I love you, but no more falling down the stair spots. This is the second time this year that you have been thrown off a set of stairs. Oh, that was rough. So again, despite how we feel about Kenny, I was like, these last 3 matches have been kind of bangers. I was like, I forgot what's left.
Oh yeah.
This.
Okay, so we're gonna get some real heat for this, and I personally do not care. I will say, not in-ring. Well, okay, in-ring wise too, this was probably my least favorite match, only because normally I knew there was going to be overbooked shenanigans, but this was so shorter than I thought it was going to be, like in terms of the match itself. I'm like,
but you know what? They gave that time to the women's, so good.
You said the pay-per-view was going to go till midnight, and they were going to push it till midnight, and it was over at 11:32. I
lied to me.
All right, you lied.
And if AEW lied to me too, because we're used to seeing them. I will say though, because I was still no.
If they had till midnight, why didn't they give the match more time?
Which is crazy, because we only had 8 matches. We didn't add like 3 extra matches onto the main card. We kept it at 8. So you could have gone like 4 hours and each match go on like 15, 20 minutes. We could have had like 5 more minutes of this match, and I would have been like, but here are my biggest complaints about this match. In ring, again, I loved it. Mox saw Will Ospreay and was like, hold up. Not Mox, but his body was like, oh, Will Ospreay's bleeding on this pay-per-view? Yeah, no, I gotta have it bleeding on this pay-per-view.
Back of the head.
When he got Shield power bombed through the table and then came back up and we saw the back of his head bleeding, I'm like, Moxley's body is just like, I was like, if anybody else bleeds on here, it's gonna be me. Like,
the poor Spanish announce table.
Oh my goodness. That's rude, AEW. We gotta stop smashing the Spanish announcer table. That's just rude.
Right.
Okay, anyway. But in ring, I loved it. It was fine. That's as far as I'm gonna go with the positives. Now let me get into my critiques of this whole thing. Number 1, I was very upset at who took the pin. That's number 1. Why? I was like, has Jay White done something backstage that we're not aware of? Like, why is he getting pinned? Like, why is he losing? What is happening? Jay White did not need to get pinned in this match.
No,
and yes, I am a big fan of Switchblade, but I have been saying this. I was so against this Fatal 4-Way because you are knocking out like 3 potential different storylines to have Mox defend the title against, and you're taking them out in one shot. And even though Jay White's the only one that got pinned. Based on what happens after the end of this, to end the pay-per-view, it seems that none of these three guys are going after Mox anytime soon. So I'm like, what was the point? So I didn't like that Jay White got pinned. There were too many shenanigans involved. I will say, though, Marina Shafir, you're my MVP because good on you, AEW, and good on Marina Shafir for taking that switchblade. Like,
Damn
yes,
right.
Intergender wrestling. That is what I want to see. Give me Jay White versus Marina Shafir. I'm here for that.
You're right.
Let Marina wrestle. That's what I want to see.
I want to see her wrestle.
We know that she is the baddest bitch in the game, submission-wise. Like, y'all saw her on Ring of Honor this year. She will choke a bitch out. Like, I want to see her just decimate the women's division. I digress.
Right now, she's just a sexy lamp, and I'm really annoyed. Like, let her do something, please.
Like,
and not just be like cheap shots on people on the stairs like she did to Orange Cassidy. You know, that's like,
have her in the ring, like you said, have her decimate the women's locker room. There are so many women who aren't being used.
Yeah.
Like,
she's one of them,
exactly.
Right? Put them in the ring.
There, and if you want to have her, you know, you don't even need to go have her feud for a championship. You could. There are so many good women in the locker room that you can have a feud with that don't need to be around the championship. Like, you know, if we're not going to do what I said about the Chris Statlander and Willow versus Marina Shafir would be great. You know, since you put on the ROH folks, have Layla Hirsch go up against Marina Shafir. That is the match I want to see. Like one-on-one, just pure submissions wrestling. Like her versus Anna Jay, you know, now that we're getting Ty Mello back, her versus Ty Mello would be great. Mina, like, there's just a plethora of women that she can go through. Thunder versus Marina Shafir would be great. Like
Serena Deeb,
Nyla Rose. Nyla, if you want to make it a more challenging, Nyla Rose versus, you know, Marina would be great. But again, I agree with you, Alice. We got to stop treating Marina like a sexy lamp. She can be a sexy lamp, but let it have a sexy lamp with claws. Like, let her choke people out. Let her in the ring. I don't. Okay, I gotta calm down because I was so mad.
Yeah, I disagree with you, Mikey. I was not happy at all with this match. You know, it started out well. Okay. These, and I keep saying these four wrestlers are great workers. Okay. Let them work. Right. They were going against each other. They teamed up on Mox, and they started going against, you know, Hangman against Jay White, Orange Cassidy against Hangman, right? They were all fighting, and it felt good. Then they showed Christian Cage up there. Okay, cool. I'm fine with that. I'm good. Then when the Death Rider shenanigans started, that just like, I felt like that nonsense could have been cut out to let these guys wrestle more, you know, so we can see these great workers wrestle. So we could see Mox, you know, after getting put through a Spanish announce table, right? And after these three start beating each other up, he comes in, you know, and starts cleaning house and like dominating, so we can see him be an actual champion and not like this whatever it is he's trying to be, right?
I feel like the shenanigans sort of do him a disservice.
It does.
As a wrestler, right? Because it doesn't give him the opportunity to show off his skills and his work in the ring, because it makes him look a little bit weaker, right? Because he needs to lean on the support of his cronies. Yeah, he needs to lean on Marina Shafir, you know, sneaking individuals. He needs to lean on Claudio and Wheeler. You know, jumping out of the audience and like, you know, right, like the whole reason Mox gets the pin is because of the psycho knee. Right. That was from Wheeler. Yeah.
So that's the other thing, and I want to talk about that too, because what made me mad is the fact that you had Jay White pretty much clear the ring of the competitors, and with most of the Death Riders too, only for him to be taken down and pinned after a Busaiku knee. You had him clear Mox. You had him clear Hangman and Orange and Marina and Claudio. He pretty much was holding his own. And I love that storytelling because Jay knows is like, Juice is gone. The Guns are injured. Like all the Bang Bang gang is all injured except for Jay right now. So he's like, nobody's coming out to save me. I got to fight everybody. And for him to be taken out by one Busaiku knee, which allows Mox, I was like, boo, boo. Yeah. I was so mad.
Not to jump the shark, but like it felt like this match was just a setup for the after match stuff. Well, and that pissed me off even more about this match.
This match was like in hindsight of what really went down. So let's talk about what happened afterwards. Right. So Jay White is getting beat up in the ring. Obviously, Hangman wasn't going to come out, but Orange, you weren't going to help? Like, what? Orange, you're the babyface. Like, what is happening? So Jay White is getting attacked. Then all of a sudden, we have FTR's music hits. And so, Dax and Cash come out. Team Thickums are out and about. And so then the lights go out. And then I'm like, oh boy, what's about?
The lights went out.
Yeah.
The end. So the lights went out, and then the graphic, because it was showing FTR's graphic, and then it changed to rated FTR. And then, of course, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh, damn, here we go. And then, of course, you think you know me. And who should be back but Mr. Rated R superstar himself, Adam Copeland, which then leads to Rated FTR coming down to the ring. They begin to fight, and yes.
I just need to raise a glass to FT runners.
Yes, pour one out for the homies because FT runners is no longer a thing, apparently. I'm so mad.
I'm sad.
I'm not. I'm not.
Oh, and Stephen Chambers with a good question. Where was Pac at World's End?
Right, they didn't have enough oil. They didn't have enough oil for him, so he couldn't make a show. Sorry.
Hold up. See, don't tease me with a good time, Steven. Don't tease me with a good time. Like, that would be an amazing match. So Beth Copeland, a.k.a. Beth, formerly known as Beth Phoenix versus Marina Shafir. Yes, give me Beth Phoenix in AEW. I think that would be fantastic. But speaking of, let's talk about her husband a little bit more.
Yeah, Rated FTR.
So Rated FTR get down to the ring. They begin brawling. And this is the other point I got mad. You had these boys like clear out Hangman and Jay and Orange and all of that. For them to get beat up by FTR Bald, FTR no longer aggravated assault. And, basically the God of War from the Percy Jackson series. I was like, what? I hated that presentation for Mox and Death Riders. So as they clear the ring, Copeland gets on the mic, calls out Moxley saying, listen, I've been doing this
on the mic.
Yeah, there was
on the mic. Sound guys were fired. I'm just kidding. Copeland, after getting a mic to work, gets on the mic.
You look at me when I'm talking to you.
Yeah, he calls Moxley a boy. It's like, listen here, boy. Yeah, I called you a boy. I've been doing this longer before you started growing pubes. I was like, oh damn. I was like, all right, well, we're gonna take advantage of that rating on this pay-per-view. And basically, FTR is now going to go after the Death Riders.
Yep.
Which I am okay with because I'm gonna tell you why. I'm okay with this. And I said this in our text thread at the end of the show. Rated FTR seems more of a credible threat to the Death Riders than the conglomeration ever did. I'm sorry. I love the conglomeration, but Orange couldn't get it done at Full Gear. Mark Briscoe was nowhere to be seen this evening. Ishii is in Japan, so he's out of the commission. Willow is not. No, Willow versus Marina. Let me tell you, that Rampage brawl was kind of fun. I'm not gonna lie. Willow coming out and throwing Marina Shafir across the ring was kind of fun. But Rated FTR is a more credible threat. We're getting a trios match on Fight for the Fallen this upcoming Dynamite. Yep. I don't want to see Copeland as world champion, but I would love to see Rated FTR take the trios titles off of the Death Riders.
I agree.
So there was on my threads, one of the people that I follow, she made a very good point that FTR and Adam Copeland are Asheville natives. They're their hometown heroes, and they're doing this in Asheville, North Carolina, which is still recovering from the hurricane that devastated the area, right? So how much of a pickup would it be for the people in Asheville to see their hometown boys, their hometown heroes, get that win? Like, I really hope that is the story that we're going to tell.
And they've been working really hard at the three of them, like for like fundraising things for North Carolina. Like, I love that they all came out together.
Yeah.
I'm so in love with this, like from an external thing, and that they're working together, and that this is going to take place in North Carolina. Like, I love it. Stamp of approval.
I really do.
Yeah, I mean, you remember when we watched Backlash in Puerto Rico when Zelina Vega came out?
Oh man, the crowd was so behind her, and even though she lost, I was just like, even Rhea Ripley was like, let's make this match, let's let Zelina get her time in.
Right. So let's have that same moment with Rated FTR in Nashville, but let them get that goal.
I'm pretty well. Unfortunately, the match at Fight for the Fallen is not for the Trios Championships, because the match is it's FTR and Copeland versus Mox, Wheeler, and Claudio. Pac is nowhere to be seen. But I would like to see Rated FTR get the win at Fight for the Fallen, and then build them up to take the Trios Championships away from the Death Riders, which would be fantastic.
Right. And
then, of course, Marina Shafir is there, so technically it's 3-on-1. If we're not going to add a woman, I think this would be a perfect place for Darby to come in and side with Rated FTR as well. Also, Christian is still squirming around with his cash in, so crazier things can happen. So who knows with all of that. But Rated FTR in the ring celebrating is how we go off the air for World's End. I will say, for the most part, World's End was a really strong card. My only nitpick was this main event and then the MJF Adam Cole stuff. But other than that, everything else was really, really strong. And even though I had my nitpicks with the Tijuana street fight, I still enjoyed that match too. So this was still a solid show. And I'm now I'm excited to see where 2025. I hope AEW is now on the upswing of things, and they're going to get back to what made them amazing 2 years ago, of why we loved AEW and all that good stuff. So key players are coming back. Hopefully we continue to tell great stories, and I don't know, give women 20-minute matches. We saw on this card that they can do it. So I'm just saying. But we're not done quite yet, because we still got a lot of AEW talent that is going to be going to Japan this week. So,
all right. Yep. So let's get to it.
Yeah. So we're just going to talk about it really, really quickly. Because
3-day weekend of fantastic wrestling coming from Japan this weekend. I'm excited.
Holy crap. We have we have 3 events that we will be covering. We are going to be covering Stardom's New Year Dash, New Japan's Wrestle Kingdom 19, and then the whole entirety of Wrestle Dynasty, which includes AEW, ROH, CMLL, Stardom, and New Japan, and all that goodness.
The Tokyo Dome.
In the Tokyo Dome. Gonna be fantastic. But let's start with Stardom, because we actually do have some AEW talent who are going to be wrestling at that Stardom show, which makes me super excited. We are going to have a tag team match that is going to have Mina Shirakawa teaming up with a returning Tai Mello, which makes me excited. So Tai is coming back, and they will be facing off against Athena and Eureka of Stardom, I believe. So we get some AEW and ROH women's representation at New Year Dream.
I saw that card on. Yep.
I am so excited. Oh, it's going to be amazing. And then the following night at Wrestle Kingdom, we have a lot of we have a lot of AEW talent being represented in that. So we do have a title for title match. Konosuke Takeshita defending the international championship against Shingo Takagi, who is the never openweight championship. So that is a match that is happening. I am so excited for that match. So that's going to be great. And then y'all at Wrestle Dynasty, we have so many matches that have AEW talent. We got
the women's
International Cup. That is opening the show, I believe, from what I read. Because what I love about New Japan is they put the card order out like way in advance, so we know. So that's opening up the show. That is going to see Athena and Willow Nightingale taking on Momo Watanabe and Persephone as CMLL. So those 4 women are going to kill it. We're also having the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships being defended at this event too. So Sammy Guevara and Dustin Rhodes will be defending the titles against the House of Torture. I was like, oh God, I can't even imagine House of Torture being ROH champions. That'd be nuts. We also have a lot of other. So we have Brody King taking on David Finlay for a championship. Claudio Castagnoli is being the representative for Jon Moxley to face against, Moxley's, young boy in Japan and Shota Umino. Ricochet will be fighting Zack Sabre Jr. for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship match. Mina Shirakawa will be facing Mercedes Moné for the Strong Women's Championship. So that match is going to slap.
Let Mercedes
and then we have the Young Bucks going after the United Empire's Tag Team Championships with Great O'Khan and a mystery partner defending the titles against the Young Bucks. We are getting, even though it's not AEW related, just because Adolfo will love this, we're getting a CMLL and New Japan Lucha Gauntlet match. So that's going to be fun.
Yep.
But then in the main event, Kenny Omega versus Gabe Kidd just destroying each other. It's going to be great.
Yep.
There's a whole week of wrestling.
Yeah. Yep. I'm just going to say this. I am nervous with Kenny Omega that he's doing a little too much coming back. A little too much too soon. So, but we'll see. That's all I got to say. I'm excited for this weekend. I'll be there. Come by.
So Adolfo, to give a little bit of a preview. So this is the last thing we are doing for 2024, but 2025 is going to be kicking off in a crazy way because all next week, Monday will be our Stardom review. So me and Adolfo are going to be reviewing the Stardom show, which is super exciting. Then the following day is Wrestle Kingdom, which is strictly New Japan, which is also going to be fun. And then on Thursday for the review, next Thursday, not this Thursday, next Thursday is Wrestle Dynasty, where will be again myself and Adolfo, but Will of CMLL and NXT will be joining us to do that review of Wrestle Dynasty. So I'm super excited. So yeah, basically your CMLL team is going to be holding down the fort for these reviews next week. But then of course we get back into our regular reviews as well because we got, CMLL, returning. WWE is happening this Sunday as we recap this week's shows as we prepare for the Netflix premiere of Monday Night Raw.
And we also have the HBO Max premiere of AEW Dynamite and Collision.
Not to mention that next Saturday is the MLW Kings of Coliseum show as well. Listen, 2025 is going to kick off in such a fun way. I cannot wait. So you should probably subscribe and follow us to stay up to date because we got a lot of fun stuff coming down this upcoming, first week of 2025. But that's going to be it for us here at Grapple Gurus. Adolfo and Alice, it has been a pleasure to hold down the AEW fort with you two as long as we did. I'm going to miss you both, but I am super excited to get to work with you guys on some other stuff. Which reminds me, if you have not been paying attention to social media, I have been posting the review teams for 2025. We've already come, and I'm excited. So in 2025, we are coming back. We are reviewing WWE, AEW, CMLL, NXT, TNA. ROH is forever burned until it gets better. But we are adding some new promotions into our rotations.
Yep.
Of course, we are coming back with GCW as we have been the second half of this year. So Andrew is taking the forefront with that, and I'm super excited. We are now also looking at Stardom, which is a lot of fun as well. Yep. But the other promotion to kind of cover our bases, because we kind of covered New Japan, because AEW and New Japan are always doing stuff together. But there's one continent that we have not covered yet, and I am excited to announce that it is easy for us to include because they don't do weekly shows. It's like every month or two they have a special show. But it is my proud honor to announce that we will be also including Progress Wrestling, which is in the UK. So we're getting some British style wrestling. Yep. They just had a show this weekend. It was fantastic. And of course, who doesn't love to see Simon Miller wrestle? It's so fantastic.
I know, right?
That beautiful bald bastard. I love him. We had Vikingo showed up, and that was crazy. But I'm excited to bring British wrestling to the rotation. And I'm excited because February, their show has Meiko Satomura, who is like the Japanese women's wrestling legend, and her retirement run that is happening the first half of 2025. And I'm so excited to bring that and British wrestling. So Progress is in our rotation. Not to mention MLW is also in our rotation too.
Yep.
So I'm super excited. But that is going to be it for us here at Grapple Gurus. As we end 2024, for the bottom of my heart, to all of my hosts and to all of the people watching, thank you for making 2024 an incredible year. It is because of the passion of my hosts and the love of everyone out there that BC WrestlePod got to do some really fun things in 2024. This is the year that we started our watch-alongs, which have been a lot of fun. We got to travel to different shows just in our areas because of how passionate we are. We got to host a table at our first wrestling convention this year, which was crazy. And 2025 is going to be even crazier because we are hoping to be back at that wrestling convention again in May. I get to go to AEW Revolution in March and TNA's Rebellion pay-per-views in April. And
you might see some East Coast people on the West Coast. I mean,
WrestleMania weekend, tune in because the worlds are colliding IRL. So I'm super excited. It's going to be
I also heard there might be some BC Lucha going on.
Oh man, it's going to be so fantastic.
Something about El Buntador and something about Lucha.
It's getting crazy between those two. I don't know what's going down. But in order to be able to see all that, you're going to need to continue to follow us and watch us in 2025 because it's about to get nuts. But from us here at, Grapple Gurus and the rest of the BC WrestlePod family, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay Bi-Conic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We'll catch you in the new year. But MXM Collection, I think it's time you play us out.
Let's get out of here. Johnny TV style. Sebastian! You're in the shot, you bald idiot! You fool! The other way! Go!